Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit activeday.com to apply.
At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Ranked #1 in innovation for 10 consecutive years and #2 among public universities for employability. ASU isn't just ahead of the curve, it's creating new paths to success. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online, that's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Stop right there. Yeah, you. If you like all things entertainment, current events, or Hollywood, then look no further. Creator to Creators, hosted by director Meosha of Horror Noir, interviews filmmakers and creatives from around the world. Join in on the fun, guest celebrities, and informative information to have as a creator. Hit subscribe and stay connected to Creator to Creators.
Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of Creators to Creators Today. Today, we have a special guest.
Hi, this is Juliera.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the show. Long time no
Thank
talk.
you.
Good to see you. Good to see you again.
You
So
too.
I always, love to go back to the beginning. For those who don't know a little bit about you, your childhood, like to, talk about the childhood and then kind of like, how did you kind of find your way into music?
Yeah. I grew up in Nigeria. Um, I used to just like love music all the time. I would sing along to like my favorite songs on TV. I would watch TV. I would watch when I have the TV on, it's always like on a music channel. And sometimes I would like sing all the songs and just like move into a random song that I just make up, and people be like, wait, what song is that one? I don't know that one. I'd be like, oh no, I just made it up. It doesn't exist. So, around the time I turned 16, I started writing things down, and my aunt saw something I wrote on paper. It was like lyrics to a song. And she was like, wow, did you write this? I was like, yeah. And she was like, this is really good. And I was like, well, my aunt is going to say it's good anyway, even if it wasn't, right? Because she's not going to
Right.
want to tell me the way. And then, around the time when I got into college, I was browsing online to see what I could do on the side to make extra money. And I came across the website called Fiverr. And on that website, the people were talking about what they could do for how much. I was like, okay, let me just put up a gig and see what, see if I offer this service, if somebody's going to like it, they're going to pay for it. And I put up a songwriting gig. I remember my first one sold for $25. And then when he ordered it, he was like, hey, and send me the beats. It was like, write a song to these beats for me. And it was like a techno pop kind of song.
Oh,
Electro
nice.
pop, sorry. Yeah. I wrote the song, I played the music in the background, and I had my phone. I was singing to the recording on my phone, and I sent it to him. I was so nervous, but then he just like left me a 5-star review and a tip without even asking for a revision. I was like, oh wow, like
Wow.
first attempt. And I was like, well, like, I guess I really can't do this. And I, just like started doing it more and more. And over the years, I got faster writing songs. I wrote a lot more songs, and, also learning along the line, because like some people would send me a message and say, hey, can you do this? And they're specific about things that I don't even know about, because I know how to write songs, but I don't know much about like music and like I didn't go to music school or like have any training in that field. And
Yeah.
someone sent me a message one time, was like, hey, I need you to write me a song following the rhyme scheme, like ABBA or something like that. At first I was like, well, I don't know what that means. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to read about it and learn. And I read about it online. I was like, oh, I see. I do this all the time.
Right.
I just don't know that this is what it's called. But at least over time, I started learning more. And, and I always knew somewhere in my mind that this is something that I want to do.
Yeah,
I didn't know when
definitely.
I was gonna, when that was gonna happen. So I purchased my domain name, Juliera because I decided, you know what, I want to use the name Juliera because I'm Juliet and it's just Juliet and I'm Libra. So I just kind of like
Ah,
the way I even came up with the name was I went online, I typed in name generator, right?
yeah, okay.
And then it asked me to put in a bunch of names that's relevant to me. So I put
Nice.
all my names, all my first name, middle name, last name, nicknames, names my parents call me. I just put a bunch of things in. I also put in Libra, just like everything that describes me.
Yeah.
And I hit generate, and it came up with a bunch of things that made no sense. And amongst those names that made no sense, there was Juliet Ra with the T. So I was
Oh,
like, that sounds so, I don't like it. But I was like, wait a minute, Juliera. Let me see if Juliera is available if I take out the T, right? So instead of Julietra, I was like, Juliera sounds good. And I typed it, I looked at it, I was like, oh my God, it's available. And I bought it right then and there. I was like, because it sounds like a name, it's beautiful and it's
it is.
available. I just bought it and I just kept it. And I just like really didn't use it much because, I was trying to figure out when I was going to do it. Over time. And then I got married. And then before I got married, we had the conversation and he did tell me like, this is not something that he wouldn't want to, that kind of attention. And he's just not interested in that field, and we have like completely different tastes when it comes to like music.
Hmm.
Um, so like I like songs like Rihanna and all those songs, and he likes like Vibes Cartel. And I don't. I mean, I like Vibes Cartel, okay, but I'm not a fan of.
Yeah.
I wouldn't just like go on TV and put on a song or like ask Google to play Vibes Cartel. I've never actually it would come on and I wouldn't skip it,
Right.
but like I've actually never put it on myself before. And he used to laugh at my taste in music. He'd be
You have
making a
good
fun of me,
taste.
like, he'd be like, oh, he'd be like, she listens to like, Selena Gomez and all this thing, making fun. I was like, well, how is that? I was like, that's good music.
Great music. I mean, look
you
at
know,
their
anyway,
careers.
you know. So anyway, different taste in music. I thought everything else was okay. We had similar taste in food and kind of like everything else. So I was like, that's fine. And I was in love. We were in love, I guess. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna let that go and just like have a family, have a wonderful life and be happy. But of course, that didn't happen eventually. And
Yeah.
things were really bad. So yeah, he was, oh my God. I just sometimes I look back and I'm like, I can't believe it. Like, how did I get here? Um, and like during getting my divorce, I was like, you know what? There was so much I was trying to starting to like do. I'm always trying to look for things to make me happy.
Hmm.
I was braiding hair, doing real estate, just like doing everything because I want to be busy. I don't want to have time to think about what was going on in my life. And when that wasn't enough, I started going to the casino. I spent so much time in the casino. And then I started losing a lot of money. I was like, no, this is not the kind of life that I want to live.
Yeah.
It was becoming a thing where I was kind of becoming an addict. The people who were the addicts in the casino knew me. Every time I'm in the casino, hey, what's up? How you doing? You were like, I had casino friends now. The dealers knew me.
Oh,
You
wow.
know, oh hell no, this is bad. Like sometimes some people would tell me like, hey, I went to the casino and people were asking about you.
Whoa.
I don't go and people asking about me or calling me, send me a story, and I was like, no, this is not. And then I blocked myself. There's something you can go to. At first I tried to not go anymore. But then like sometimes if I'm driving home from somewhere, maybe I'm done showing a house and I'm going home, I was like, oh my God, there's nothing to do. I can't go home and sit down and not be doing anything. I'm not gonna do
Mm.
this.
Hmm.
I don't want to be thinking about what I'm going through, right? And I
Yeah.
just drive to the casino from leaving somewhere to home and I'm driving to the casino. You know what I mean? Not heading to. So I was like, oh my God, I need to find
How did
something
you
else.
break it? How did you say
Also,
like
I
no?
went to go. They have something called game stands where you could block yourself. So yeah, you couldn't go there and tell them you sign up, and then if you ever came there, they wouldn't let you in. And or if you happen to somehow make it in anyway, you could get like a trespass. Like they could kick you out, you could get
Oh.
arrested in some cases. And yeah, you actually can sign yourself up for that. And even if you happen to win any money, like you can buy chips and stuff, but if you win any money, your money is worth $0. You're not gonna. So it's very strict. So if you sign yourself up, they only make sure that you can't. No one can make you sign yourself up. You have to. They'll ask you like, are you doing this? because you want to, or you're over the age of 18, things like that. So I was
Okay.
like, I need to do this. And I did it, and I blocked myself for a year.
That's
This was
good.
actually October 22nd last year, because I was like, no, I'm not going to be, no, this is not going to be, no, I'm not going to be one of, I hear a lot of stories from those people that I meet there, the things, what casino has done to them. I was like, this is not going to be my story. I
That's
stopped going to the casino, and then I started trying to figure out what else I need to do. Now that I have, sometimes when I have free time, I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? You know,
Did you take
and
therapy?
then, no, I didn't.
No, I mean,
I did try to reach out to some um um I signed up, I filled out for some forms, but they never
yeah.
got back to me.
Mm.
So and then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna call the studio that's right next to me. Hey, and then I went there, I was like, hey, can I come in? Can I book a session? They're like, yeah, sure. And I went in there, um, I started doing songs again. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just long story short, by the way.
I love
And
it.
I
I
started
love
doing
it.
music again, and it's like, okay, now this is my therapy. You know what I mean? Now I
Yeah.
have a reason to, before going into the studio, sorry, I hired someone on Fiverr. I was like, do me beats, to do like beats for me. And I started like listening to just like a bunch of things. It was one story to another. And I found myself in the studio. Now this is something that if I start feeling like there's nothing to do, I just like, start listening to maybe the songs that I've written and see if there's something I could improve, or just like write a new song, or just like call the studio and go to the studio. You know what I mean? Like I just and so it's either I'm busy with work or I'm busy doing songs, and
Yeah.
I just was so much happier. It was like, for me, it was therapy. Like it's like being
Yeah.
able to actually speak your mind, like a lot of the things that, because like a lot of my family is in Nigeria,
Hmm.
and I feel alone a lot. I feel like, and when my son is with his dad, it's like there's nothing to do. Like I said, that's what used to take me to the casino, right? And
Yeah.
it's like a lot of my people are not around me.
Hmm.
So it gets really, really lonely. And then I was like, now I have this other thing that I'm doing, and I enjoy it.
Yeah. No, that's good. Absolutely. That's great that I think that's a beautiful thing. And thank you for sharing that. Like, I think a lot of people can relate because it's funny that you said casino. I was literally, a friend of mine was just literally there and she was like, hey, can you come with me? And I'm not a casino girl at all. I don't bet. I can't. I'm not good at. I don't get it. But there are those people that you said, they're just there all the time. You can just see it, and it's like
There
it.
were
You just
times when I went there, it was so bad. There were times when I went there because I got to a point where I'm a silver card member, and like they give me free rooms. I think I get
oh
like
oh,
rooms
you
a
were
month.
that good.
So like they give me free rooms, and sometimes I book like 2 nights, right?
Wow.
And what I do is I go into the casino, I pull my bag in the room, and I go to the casino floor, and I don't go back to the room until I check out. That means I'm sitting on the casino floor 36 hours sometimes. I'm like, what the?
Whoa. Whoa.
It's really bad. I can't believe it.
Wow.
It was really, really bad. Like it was, of course, there were people that were worse than me
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I
yeah, for
mean?
sure, for sure, for sure.
But
But
like
wow.
I saw myself get into that point. I was like, oh hell no. I blocked myself. I was like, let me try 1 year. And the thing is, after blocking myself, I couldn't go back to the casino, right?
Good, good.
Because I don't want to get, I'm not gonna go and get, sign myself out. What's the point? Because then you can't break it once you do
Yeah.
that until the time is up. So I'm not gonna go there and get arrested. I'm not gonna go there. I don't think I'm that desperate for a casino. So, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do. And there was one time that I did go to the one in Rhode Island, but I was like, no, hell no. I hate driving. If I have to drive far, I'm not doing it. So the fact that those are far away from me, Encore was so close to me. That's why I used to go all the time, because it's like
Okay.
15 minutes to 20 minutes drive. But then if I have to go to Rhode Island, it's like, if there's no traffic, is at least 45 minutes. And I hate driving far. So
Oh
that
man.
that in itself kept me away.
Hey, and look, you know what? You're making great music now. And I mean the fact that you're putting this energy that in that into that from that to like into music is amazing because I love your new song, Let It Ache.
Thank
Very,
you.
very cool. First of all, let's talk about that. Like, I mean, I think you said something you didn't want to make this song at one point, but like,
Yeah.
so what made you change your mind?
So there's sometimes when you're like, yeah, I don't want to face this. I don't want to deal with this problem. I just want to
Yeah.
push it away and just push it away. And I just like, why would I even write a song about it? It's not worth writing about. Like, I'm not gonna write a song. Someone's not gonna. I feel like I was like, no, I'm not even gonna give it any thought. Like, I'm not gonna, I'm not doing this.
Mhm.
And my lawyer told me to write my divorce attorney. She was like, do a narrative, right? It's just like write things about, because I had already told her a lot of things.
Mhm.
And she was like, just like write it down on paper, and whatever you can think of, whatever you remember that happened. And then I just didn't want to write about it. Every time I started writing, I start getting like angry and I start shaking, and I was like, no, I'm not doing this. I push it away. And it took
Mhm.
months and months and 6 months. You were like, hey, have you written it? I was like, I will, I will, I will. And it's like, I will, I will. And I just could not do it. And one time I was talking to a friend that I knew who was a therapist, but not my therapist. And then it was like, hey, let's go, just go out, have dinner. And we just like talked. And he was like, you know what? Like, it's okay to not want to write about things like that. But he said something about he was like, you should, like everything that happened, like there's things that happen, but like try and have compassion on that side of you that doesn't want to do this.
Yeah.
Like if you can have, I was like, what do you mean have compassion on it? Like have compassion on it. And I was like, and I one day, kind of like the next day after that, I started thinking about it. I was like, you know what? When I didn't want to write it, and I wanted to write, but I didn't want to write it. I was like, you know what? I told myself, I was like, yeah, it's okay to not want to write it. Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't want to write this, but I'm going to write it. And I
That's
just
good.
started writing, and I just started writing, and I just started writing, and I started writing. And when I was done writing what I could remember, usually every time I write something, I go back to proofread. I
Mhm.
didn't want to do that. I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not reading over again. I'm going to send it in. Whatever error is there, I'm sure she'll get it. She'll fix it.
Right, right.
I sent it to her. I was like, yeah, I'm done. I did it. Yes. I was like, yes, I wrote it, after several months. And I was like, okay, let me get off this mood now, right? I want to
Yeah.
do something that's making me, something that make me happy. And I
Yeah.
went on to go play some of the beats that I paid the guy to write me. And then when he wrote it, when I started playing the beats, the first one that I played was that one for Let It Ache.
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure out what to put in. The first words that came out of my mouth was "Why, darling, why?" And then the
Oh.
tone, And then the next words was "Did you have to?" I was like, "Oh my God, I don't want to write this." But then the words were, it was coming out like literally the first 3-4 lines was exactly. I didn't even have to think about rhyming it or think about.
Yeah, it just
Oh,
flowed. It just came out.
like, yeah, it just kind of came out and just like matched. It's just like the timing was right on the song, everything was right. So I was like, oh wow, I just finished writing the story, and now the
Yeah.
song wants me to write it. So okay, fine, let's do it. And I just wrote verse one, I wrote verse two, I wrote the pre-chorus and the chorus, and I was like, I'm done. I was done. And then when I first went to the studio, I was like, can you cut out, because the beat, as you can see, the song is like 3 minutes and 8 seconds long, I
Mhm.
think.
Mhm.
So what happened was he cut out the other part, the part that has the bridge in it, because I was
Okay.
like, I'm done with it, right? Because
Yeah.
I didn't really want to write about this, and this is what came out, and I'm done. And then he cut it out, and then the song was like 2 minutes and 47 seconds long. And then my mom heard the song when she came to visit me. That's actually the first time she knew that I do music. She never knew.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. She was like, you wrote this? I was like, yeah. She was like, no way. She was like, play it again. Play it again. Play it. When I picked her from the airport, she made me play it again till we got back home. She was like, oh my God, you need to release the song. I was like, well, I'm still working on it, because, it still has to be,
Yeah,
still have to work on it,
mastered.
and
Yeah.
mixing and mastering and all that. She was like, oh, you need to put it out. It's good already. I was like, well, mommy, I need to do it right?
Yeah.
Before I put it out. I need to. And she was like, well, but the only thing is the song is too short. So I was like, well, I
Mm.
mean, songs can be short sometimes. And
Mhm.
every time something else comes on, she'd be like, you see, that song is how many? She was like, check the timing. She's like, you see that 3 minutes? She's like, oh, look at this one's 4 minutes. And she just kept like, so I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna
I
do
I think
the,
it's you did such a great, like, honestly, it's such an emotional song. I was like, whoa, like you put your emotion in that, and I can feel it
yeah.
from just listening to it. But I was also I'm curious, like you said, it's therapy, but like, did you feel like when you said you're done with it, do you feel like, okay, that you freed some part of you, and now
Yeah.
you can move on?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
That's
I felt
great.
so free. I felt so like I
That's
did this. You
great.
know what I mean? Like it's kind of like when I was also going through what I was going through in my relationship. I didn't tell anybody for the longest time. I
Yeah.
was just keeping it. People were like envious of me, like, "Oh my gosh, you came into the U.S. You know, I did my degree. You got married. You have a child. You guys bought a house." People were
Yeah.
like, but like, I was just wondering, like, these people, everyone's like envious of me. They don't know that I'm enduring a lot. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
wasn't saying much because I wanted to not make him look like, you know what I mean? Like
Like to have
the
the
first
perfect
time,
the family or
yeah,
whatever. Yeah.
I wasn't also trying to make it look like I was happy. I just wasn't. I mean, I always like to find things that make me happy, right? Which is why I
Yeah.
always went to the casino, right? I always
Yeah.
try to find things to make me happy because, like, even growing up, they used to call me because in my the people call me Jumi. Jumi
Hmm.
is from Jumoke. That's the name they call me at home. So people
Nice.
call me Jumi Erin because I laugh a lot. Growing up as a child, I would laugh. If somebody would upset me, and next thing you know, they make me laugh, and I'm laughing again to the same person who just. And
Yeah.
that's one
Upset
thing
you.
that I feel like a lot of people take advantage of because like people don't even think twice before they make me mad because they
Hmm.
just know they just have to like tell me a joke or do something funny and I laugh and it's over, right? And a
Hmm.
lot of people tend to like take advantage of that. And
Mm.
then, at some point I was just, at some point, of course, you're just gonna find out like, no, I have to say no and like fight for myself. It's not gonna
Yeah.
be. And and usually when I make up my mind, I usually find it's usually hard for me to make up my mind, but when I do make up my mind, then it's final. Yeah. So
I
yeah.
listen,
So
I love that. You're on this, I mean, I feel like, and I've never been married, but I can't imagine like the, like your situation, but I can only like, sympathizing, like, like, oh my God, good for you for getting out of that and living your life for you and finding and getting into a place where you are like happy. And I think it's a journey, right? I think it's
yeah,
everything that we do. And it's not like, I'm sure we have ups and downs. Some days that you're really happy, some days those memories I'm sure come back, but
yeah.
it's living with them, and the fact that you're making steps to like, having a better and being happy and stuff. I was going to ask you this question, and I'm just so curious. um do you like, how important is it, like, your independence as for yourself and as a woman?
Oh, well, I'm a Libra, right? They think, Libra is the air sign, right? We
Yeah.
like the freedom and the independence, right? But
Yeah.
it's like, even though that's important to me, like I was like getting married, I can't always, like I'm also very good at depriving myself of the things that I want. For
Hmm.
example, this casino thing was a thing that I really wanted to do, right? But then I went
Yeah.
to sign myself up and I blocked myself. And even though a lot of people know that there's that department where you can go and do that, a lot of people don't go and do that.
Hmm.
And I actually never knew anybody who went there to do that, like block them, sign themselves out. But like I did that. I've always been very good at depriving myself of things that I want. And it's like, and you know how I wrote in the song, I was like, though my heart breaks, I let it ache. I
Yeah.
am very good with taking, again, it's hard for me to make up my mind, but once I do, then I stick by it. And even if it hurts, I can cry all day, but I'm still not gonna take you back. Like I can cry over you all day, but I'm still done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm still like I'm hurting too, but like I'm still done because I would rather it's gonna heal, right? Eventually. And
Yeah.
then I would rather focus on paying attention and choosing better in the future. It's hard because you never really know these things, right? You never
Hmm.
really see these things coming. Like I never thought if someone had told me like when I first met him during the time we were dating that this guy would ever put hands on me, I would have said,
Mm.
hell no, that's a lie.
Yeah.
Like I would have sworn he would never, you know what I mean? And at
Hmm.
some point you start wondering, do I even know this person?
Mm.
It's like this person, like, do I even know this person that I'm waking up next to every day?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow. And I can't imagine, like, my mom actually, I wasn't born, but she told me about this. I want to make it a movie. It's a true story. She was in an abusive situation. Her first husband, I mean, just
Yeah.
it started with verbal, and then it
Oh,
increased
yes.
to,
Oh my God, that's how it started. And it started as a
ah,
joke. It started as a joke too.
oh
It
wow.
started with a verbal joke. It was like, I remember the first time he called me a bitch. He was it was something we were playing around.
Yeah.
It was like, what, you fucking bitch. He was laughing and I laughed about it. I laughed over it.
Yeah.
We thought it was a joke,
Yeah.
and then next thing you know, one day when he was mad, he called me a bitch. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. I was like, whoa.
What is that? Like, where is that coming from? And then next thing you know, he's calling me other things. He called me like a thought, a cunt, a
Oh
stupid dumb
no.
fuck. I'm sorry if I'm
Oh
not
no,
supposed to be saying that
you're
here.
good. You're good. You're good. Yeah.
Calls
It's
me a
all
bunch of things. Like sometimes he calls me some names that I don't even know what it means. I have to type on Google, like, what does this mean? You know what I
wow.
mean? Because I never heard those things before
Yeah.
sometimes. And
Yeah.
then from there, next thing you know, one time, um, one of like, so he's younger brother, his younger brother's baby mama. She one time I think I called her or something because I wanted to get out of this. We were having like an argument and I wanted to get out. Um, and I think she came to pick me up, and then he was talking to me on the phone and I put him on speaker. And she was like, "Oh my God, he talks to you like that?"
Yeah.
Nobody knew the whole time that, that
Wow.
like he talks to you like this. And I was like, yeah. She was like, she was like, I bet you he's gonna put hands on you. I was like, no, he's not gonna do that. He knows better. I literally was still defending him, despite
Wow.
the fact I was like, no, he's not gonna do that. He knows better. I'm telling you, it wasn't even a month from
Wow.
when she said that. It was not even a month. I was
Wow.
like, oh my God.
Sheesh. But
Yeah.
that
And
is so
this is someone who just had a baby. I just had a baby for him, right? I had a
yeah.
C-section. How could you do that? Like I had a C-section. I was only like, it wasn't even like 6 months,
Holy
you know.
crap. Holy crap. Wow. I can't imagine though, like this, so I'm curious and if I don't want to get too in personal life, but I'm curious if do you feel like for those I mean now like the signs of like
Oh yes,
okay,
I took
that's a
some
red
classes.
flag.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
took some classes. Oh God, with
Yeah.
Dove. And
Oh
it's crazy
good.
because now I feel like now I see way too many red flags. And now I
Yeah.
don't take them. Now I'm like, because now I was like, when they were taking those classes, they were mentioning things like, oh wow, I should have known this was a red flag. That
Yeah.
everything was so I was like, wow, these people. And I asked them a question. I was like, why don't they teach those classes before?
Yeah.
Why after? Why after someone goes through something like this and then you learn all of this? I feel like this should come first, you
Yeah.
know? And now when I meet people and I'm talking, I'm just, everything I see is red flags. That's all I see now. It's
I
like,
can't imagine. But you know what?
and
You
people, I just don't talk to them anymore because I was like, one time there was this guy who I also used to meet at the casino. I actually met him at the casino. We used to hang out all the
uh-huh.
time.
Uh-huh.
And one time he just called me. He was owing me money that I lent him. And then something about, oh, come, he wanted me to come and get my money. And then I was like, I told him I was going to be late because I need to get gas. So I
Yeah.
was like 15 minutes late, which by the way, he's always late. I was 15 minutes late and he called me a fucking clown. I was like, oh, really? And I never spoke to him again.
Good for you. Good for
Doesn't know
you.
why I don't talk to him anymore. And he tries to call me and text me, and I never pick up his calls. He has people calling me and he's texting me, and sometimes he asks like nothing happened. He'd be like, hey, let's go out for dinner. And I still don't respond because like, how do you not see? And he doesn't know what he
That's
did
a
wrong.
I
He
think
just
that's
doesn't see.
narcissist behavior, honestly.
And I'm just like, how do you not see? And I was like, well, I'm not going to explain. I'm not going to tell you what you did wrong. If you don't know, then
Yeah.
you don't know.
Yeah.
And, like, especially, I feel like the worst kind of people is people who do bad things and don't even realize that they're doing bad things.
Yeah.
If you know that you're doing something bad, you'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe I just did that. Let me go apologize or
Yeah.
something, right?
Right.
But people who don't know that they're doing something bad, you would actually point it out. Like, look what you did.
Yeah.
And they're still going to be like, so like was like I'll give you an example, right? So he sent a message to my mom, which my mom sent me a screenshot of
Uh-huh.
my husband I'm getting divorced. He wrote somewhere in the message, he was like, and I'm just of course kind of paraphrasing, but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
do
yeah.
have the screenshot. He said, I slapped her a couple of times and then she had the nerve to call 911 acting like I'm abusing her and beating her up.
What?
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
like go back
It's
up
like
to the message. What did you just say?
it's like
And
you
then when
are.
you, and then every time he comes up and people ask, and I asked him like why was he? Because he was choking me. He was like, I only did that for like 2 seconds. It was only 2 seconds. I'm like,
That's
first of all, it
scary.
wasn't 2 seconds. I didn't feel like it was 2 seconds. And what was your hands doing choking me anyway in the first place? And were you counting? And he swore it was 2 seconds. Till today, till tomorrow, he's always gonna keep saying it was only 2 seconds.
I think people like that, there's no hope for. They're just monsters. They're just people.
I used to want to hope and be hopeful that
Yeah.
there's hope for them. The class was like, no, there's no hope for them.
No, yeah, because there are literally good people and then are really bad, inherently bad people in the world that just
Yeah.
don't care. And and it's like you just have to know who your tribe is, like finding the right people for your life, and that's going to edify you, build you, uplift you. Because I feel like verbally that's a part of it. Like in friendship, relationships, whatever ships, I feel like if somebody's pouring into you positive things, speaking like affirmation, this is really just uplifting you, that's a good person. Like someone who does the opposite. I'm not in relationships because I don't trust. I really don't. I have really big trust issues
Yeah.
when it comes to
I
that.
I used to trust, like I used to just trust. Tell me anything and I believe you. Tell me, I'm saying like I used to trust so much, like it's actually naive. Like people would come to me and they'll be like, they would make it a bet, like, watch, Juliet is gonna believe me. And I'll be like, really? Even if I think it's kind of impossible, somewhere in my heart tells me to be open-minded. Like maybe there's a chance that
Mm-hmm.
that's possible. And I'd be like, did you really just believe that? I was joking. I'd be like, well, I was still trying to figure it out. I was still trying to process it. I wouldn't
Yeah.
say I believe you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But like now, nah. No,
Good.
no, no. Now I don't
Good.
know. You have
Good.
to give me reasons to trust you for
Yeah.
me to then trust you. I don't just go about trusting people anymore because
That's
I've gone
good.
through so much, not just with him, but like just like really opening up my eyes now to see to see people for what they truly are, and to see to see what, not just making excuses all the time for people, and
Yeah.
just seems like people are really capable of doing like a lot of bad things.
Yeah. What advice would you give to someone that is to so that they don't go down that path? It could be a young woman, like, what would you say to her, or someone who was listening that is in a relationship that is, you know, heading that way of could be verbally abusive
Yeah.
or whatever.
I would say, look, if you can make your mistakes and learn from them, that's good. But it's better if you can learn from somebody else's. Like if you've seen somebody else make this mistake, can you please not make the same mistake, please? Just learn from that person's. And you would always make mistakes too, right? But if you my story, I think a lot of people should learn from it. And I see some people too, and I always try to tell them I don't keep my mouth shut anymore. There's
That's
this
good.
lady the other day, she's my client, she's my hair, she comes to get her hair braided, and she had told me about how her boyfriend, who at the time was her ex-boyfriend, was abusive to her. He had a court date coming on over something that he beat her up over and things like that. And of course, she didn't want him to get arrested, but you know how the system is. Once people get involved, I think neighbors called cops, and then he got arrested. And then she didn't show up to the hearing. And next thing you know, she came to get her hair braided, and this guy comes over to drop off. I was like, and I asked her, is this the same person? She was like, yeah. I was like, okay. I was like, well, I can't believe that you guys are back together. She was like, well, there's nothing I can do. I've tried. I tried to get away from him. He keeps coming to me. He keeps doing it. I was like, not hard enough. You did
Yeah.
not try hard enough. No one is that hard to get rid of. If they're not gonna listen to this, you take it up, you do something else. Nobody is that hard to get rid of.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't wanna there's some things that you can do that'll make them not even, they'll be like, oh no, now I heard you loud and clear. You have to make sure that they heard your message loud
Yeah.
and clear. If they're not going to listen to the words coming out of your mouth, and like it could be honestly, even if she, like, for example, right? If she showed up to the court and testified against him, he would never
He
he
wouldn't
would
have
not
that.
mess with her anymore. He would hate
Exactly.
her. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's gonna hate her, can't stand her, and things like that. But
Yep.
at least she would be free from him.
Exactly.
There's always something that you can do. Nobody's that hard to get rid of.
I love that. It's great advice. I mean, I thank you for sharing that because I feel like that's super important. That a lot of people I think are dealing with a lot of things. I have a few
Yeah.
friends that are going through some things. So thank you for sharing that. Um,
Thank you.
what's next? What do you as far as like music wise? What do you? I mean, I love it. You're having fun. I
Yeah.
love this. I love seeing
Yeah.
that.
So I actually just got signed by a record label.
Oh,
Thank you.
congratulations. That's
Yeah,
awesome. Wow, that
just
feels, I
a
bet
few
that
days
feels great.
ago.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So they're working on transferring my music to their distribution system, and then they're going to, of course, like I just feel so much relief because like a lot of the burden I don't have to deal with anymore.
That's
Like
good.
they're well more connected than I could ever be.
That's
And
great.
this is just like people, this is not me going blindly anymore. This is people who know what they're doing, and they're gonna,
Yeah.
they're going to help me figure things out. And I'm so happy that
Yay.
that happened.
I'm so happy for you. I mean, you deserve it. You're amazing. And keep, yeah, it's thank you for sharing your story. And I mean, you have the fact that you can touch people with music and also with your story is a beautiful thing. So keep doing that. Seriously.
Yeah.
Where can people find you on social media to follow you and everything that you got going on?
Yeah. I am on Instagram at I am Juliera, TikTok at I am Juliera. Twitter and Facebook is also I am Juliera. I barely use those, but I have them. And then um, YouTube is youtube.com/Juliera. And then what else? Oh, my website is also juliera.com.
Awesome, awesome. Oh, it's so good to talk to you. It feels like the time just goes by so fast. We're literally on 3 minutes right now left. It's crazy how fast this time just flies. Um, but it's so good to hear from you, and I'm so glad to hear all the updates that you got going on. I'm super excited to see like what's happening in 2024 for you. That's
Yes,
exciting.
I'm so excited to see too. I can't wait.
Yay. And
Actually had
thank
a dream about it.
you did? Oh, well, there you go. You manifested it. There you
I
go.
had a, you know what's funny? I had multiple dreams before I even started going into the studio. I had a dream that I was a music, I was doing music. It's a long story. And then again, sometimes a few months back, I also had a dream about this. Like when in the dream I was worried about like a lot of the things that was going on in my life, right? And then somebody told me in the dream like, "Don't worry, things are gonna be better by November."
Oh, I
And
love that.
since then, I've been looking forward to November. I was like, when something's happening and something's going on in my life, I'll be like, okay, well, I'm looking forward to November.
I love that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. You know what? I'm a big believer on the power of like just, the power, the things that we say, the things that we think
Yeah,
about, we can totally manifest anything.
yeah,
Yeah. So, man, I just would love to, you have to come back. You got to come back on. This is like 30 minutes goes by like it's literally 1 minute. But thank you so much for coming on.
thank
And
you.
everyone go check out your new EP, Let It
Yeah,
Ache. It's everywhere, right?
yes, it's everywhere. Yeah.
Awesome. And thank you all for listening. And always remember to live, love, laugh. We'll see you guys next time.
Thank you. Bye.